Today we'll be going over the DynamicPost Jack System. Our dynamic jack system is a great way to stabilize or lift on your next project. The jack assembly has a 4.5-inch lift. It also has a load capacity of 50,000 pounds. And if you guys are going to be using a steel I-beam, it has I-beam support plates that you can use to lock in your I-beam so it can't rotate during your lift. So the next step after our jack system is to use the galvanized 3-inch OD pipe. We sell this conveniently in 3-foot, 5-foot, and 7-foot pieces, or we can custom cut any piece for your project requirements. So we have 3 great bases for your jack to rest on. We have our 24-inch diameter footing pad, which is ICC rated. We have our 18-inch diameter poly base. This is a nice option because it keeps the jack base in line from sliding. And then our last option here is our 16-inch diameter precast concrete. Keep in mind you guys can pour a traditional concrete footer if that's a better requirement for your project. So now that we've gone over the jack assembly, our next step is the installation process. For this project, we're using an S4 steel I-beam. Keep in mind you can use a wood beam if you prefer. What we're going to do is we're actually going to utilize one of the base plates to actually stabilize and lift this beam up. The advantage of that is so your guys aren't having to hold it in place while moving on to the final step during the installation process. What we're going to do is we're going to basically put our stand on the base plate, put our jack here, and actually lift this up to where it's touching the bottom of the wood joist. There may be situations on your project where there's a gap in between the bottom of the joist and the top of the I-beam. We conveniently sell these 6x6-inch plates. They're 1/8 inch and 3/8 inch thick. You can stack them together. For this one, you can actually take them, slide them in. Sometimes you'll have to take a hammer and drive them, but this does a really good job in making sure that there's no gap between the bottom of the wood joist here and the top of the I-beam plate. So now it's the time to install the jack assembly. What we're going to start with is we're going to start with the base. What we want to do is make sure you guys have a level. We want to make sure that this base is level and directly centered underneath the top of this I-beam. Once that is leveled, the next step is we're going to drop in our base plate. The base plate will actually sit right in here. We'll grab our pipe section next. Now, to make sure you guys are cutting the pipe to the right size, you're going to want to measure the distance from the bottom of the beam to the plate. So we're going to get a good measurement here to make sure exactly where we need to cut it. Keep in mind that you're also going to want to measure your jack to cut the difference off. So this jack from the top to the bottom of where it's going to sit is about 6 inches. So you're going to want to subtract that from whatever measurement you take off of this pipe. Once you guys have cut the pipe, you're going to install the top plate of the jack and the plate here, and you're going to slide it on. To tighten this, you're going to rotate it counterclockwise. To lower it down, you're going to go clockwise. So basically what you're going to want to do is to start tightening it. So now that it's tight and it's centered completely underneath of the I-beam, the next step is we're going to take our I-beam plates and actually bolt this in place. So what these plates will do is they'll prevent the I-beam from rolling or twisting. And you're going to use the provided bolts and nuts to connect this together. And you're going to want to do this on each side. So once that's installed and adjusted, you can actually take a wrench and lift it if you guys need to.